My name is Ken Lindeman. We're in a lawn here in Satellite Beach, Florida at my home. It's a 1/4 acre lot, a pretty typical lot. We're going to tell you about our story in terms of getting the native lawn in and getting the St. Augustine lawn out. Ultimately, the most efficient method we've found for removing St. Augustine lawn is the use of plywood to kill the really thick, super dense sections of turf. That takes, depending on the circumstances, typically 2.5 to 4 weeks. That seems like a long time. It flies. You'll be busy doing other stuff often, especially if you've already gotten some of it out, because you're going to be busy getting new natives in. So after 3 to 4 weeks, you pull up the plywood. You usually weight the plywood. Weighting the plywood helps. You shovel out the thatch. Sometimes you don't have to. We found that using organic pine straw can be very useful to just put down on the thatch the dead St. Augustine after, to kind of finish off the St. Augustine. Keeping some sort of ground cover on your soil minimizes temperature variation and from what I've read, assists your subsurface soil ecology. Another very important combined tool to use is not using your sprinklers, not using fertilizer. Of course, you're going to follow the local regulations on fertilizer use. But in addition to that, there really isn't a lot of need for fertilizer, and there really isn't a lot of need for water, and certainly not on your St. Augustine. So we just stopped watering and fertilizing a long time ago. It's important to remember that a primary driver of why we're removing single species fertilizer, pesticide, high turf lawn and replacing with native gardens is, one, we need to reduce collectively and individually fertilizer runoff into the Indian River Lagoon. We need to reduce pesticide inflows as well. 2, we need to create additional habitat for everything from the pollinators, the flying insects that make many things happen that are operating in the background of our wonderful beachside and mainland lives. And we also need to replace this single species carpet with the habitat features of the original Florida that supported any number of amphibians and reptiles and mammals and birds. The third thing is that on the human end, it's great exercise. It's really good for your mind at the end of the day. After several years of engaging in this task, which became a hobby, which became a love, we currently have about 45 species of natives, the classics, live oak, sea grape, dune daisies, Indian blanket flowers. An incredible array of trees exist as well. It's not just wildflowers. There's some wonderful trees out there. There's a tree called a fiddlewood, which pioneer Floridians use to make furniture and musical instruments. We have created a list, an inventory of all the species we have that shows the color of their flowers, the role they have to pollinators, and whether or not they're hosts or not for certain species of butterflies. As we've learned more, and we'll be learning continuously, there are many people who know a lot more than us. It's important here to acknowledge the assistance of Balance for Earth on several components of this, and very importantly as well, Keep Brevard Beautiful and their Lagoon Friendly Lawn program. This is a very important program. I encourage you to go to the web and search Lagoon Friendly Lawns after you go to the web and search Balance for Earth. The Lagoon Friendly Lawn program is a very important example of a resource management tool called demand-side conservation. In addition to rules and regulations, in demand-side conservation, you're incentivizing behaviors that are really good and new for the system. So with the LFL program that Keep Brevard Beautiful runs, you can achieve 3 levels of certification for your efforts to make your lawn more native, more lagoon friendly. Lagoon friendly, again, is getting fertilizer inflows from your lawn into the stormwater and groundwater reduced, doing the same with pesticides, and getting native wildlife habitat into your yard. So hopefully this short little video will assist you on your journey towards a lawn that's more healthy for the lagoon and more healthy for your daily life. There are many versions of this story. Every garden is unique, Every garden has its own story.